Welcome back, tribe. Today we're going to talk about a somewhat disturbing and topic, but that's just part of the 31 days of Halloween. So grab something hot, snuggle up with a blanket, and let's get into this, shall we? While suicides that are related specifically to occult practices are by no means common, they definitely tend to pull our focus when they're reported in popular media. What is it about occult practices that makes things like homicide and suicide that much more frightening than it already is? Is it the fact that some of these people think that by sacrificing themselves they are calling forth some kind of demonic spirit? Or is it just the simple fact that these people can be so easily brainwashed into killing themselves through occult leaders or whatever it may be? It's kind of eerie because a lot of these people are just like you and me. So it's kind of like, well, if it could happen to them, could it happen to me? There also seems to be a recurring theme for people who are leaving occult practices to later on down the road commit suicide. Now, this leads to many different conspiracy theories by people who are still in the dark arts or cult leaders and stuff like that. There are these different theories out there that when you dabble with the dark arts, when you mess with things like demons and witchcraft and those types of darker energies, that they're not just gonna let you go. Now, from a more human aspect, there's also conspiracy theories out there that different cult leaders are actually staging these suicides and killing these people who leave the cult or leave the faith later on, which I wouldn't doubt has happened in the world before. Rumors like this have abounded when it comes to former Satanists, people who were self-proclaimed witches who belonged to different covens, and just other people who have dabbled in the dark arts. Now, when I'm referring to dark arts, I don't mean that the practice is in and of itself evil. I just mean that it dabbles with darker topics like summoning demons and other spirits, working with the dead, working with, things that most people would be afraid to work with. So I'm not saying that these people who dabble with the dark arts are evil. It's just that sometimes you can awaken and kind of bond with evil-ish things in the process. Could it be that when people are making these bonds with these different spiritual entities that they're not able to simply walk away from them later? Maybe the spirits themselves are causing the suicides. And in fact, when I was researching this topic, I found several different articles written by different theology professors, different people who are still in the dark arts and actively involved in it, who will say that these spirits that you're building bonds with and relationships with are not just going to let you go. There's a lot of different dark arts that require blood sacrifices, lifelong commitments, different things like that. So when you make these bonds and when you tie yourself to these entities, they're not just going to let you go. And there are some theories and some very disturbing stories that when you try to leave that particular faith, or when you try to dissociate yourself from those entities that you used to conjure or things like that, that those entities will then turn on you and drive you mad or seek revenge for you kind of like betraying them. Now, obviously these are all just like theories and they all tie into like theology and stuff like that. So if you don't believe in spirits, obviously this is just a lot of crazy people talking about stuff. But obviously there's no real life proof that that is what is happening, that the people are committing suicide specifically because spiritual entities are driving them mad. That's just a common understanding and a somewhat common excuse or reason behind why there seems to be sort of an uprise with people who leave occult practices committing suicide later on. Now, in my opinion, dark spirits, demons, negative, evil entities do exist in the world. They might not be exactly what, Christianity says they are, or what Islam says they are, what Buddhism says they are. It might not fit into any specific religion, but I do believe that there is true evil out in the world. And when you open yourself up to these darker arts, you are playing with fire in a way. Like, you are kind of messing with some energy that could backfire on you later on. So I always caution people, don't go into magic trying to make pacts with the devil and trying to sell your soul or make blood sacrifices and things like that. In my opinion, any entity or deity who is asking you to make sacrifices like that or to like make lifelong commitments to them, they're not just going to let you walk away, and it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to leave that behind should you change your mind in the future. And I'm going to make kind of a comparison. So this might not make sense until I'm done with it, but just hear me out. So let's think about tattoos. Tattoos are permanent, right? I have them. I know they're permanent. You can't just scrub them off. You can cut and burn them off, but ow. When I think about getting a tattoo or committing to a tattoo, I know that's going to be a lifelong commitment. Now, yeah, there are different technologies and stuff that you can get rid of your tattoo or cover up your tattoo later on. But all of those methods require pain and sacrifice. And sometimes it is a sacrifice literally of the flesh, if you think about it. When they're doing the laser removal, in a lot of ways, you are kind of stripping layers of flesh off of you. So think of that in spiritual essences. When you're going to make a commitment to a deity or a certain spiritual path or some kind of faith, make sure that it has something that's going to provide you with positive experiences, something that is going to give you valuable lessons, but also something that allows you to grow and change, because people change throughout their whole lives. Your viewpoints right now are going to be different 20 years from now. So if you get yourself entrenched in something that is all about darkness and all about evil and all about summoning demons and all about, you know, trying to do like these negative magical spells and stuff like that, which not all spells are negative. Magic in and of itself is neutral. It's all about how you use it. But if you predominantly use bad magic or evil magic and things like that, you are entrenching yourself into a very confining energy space, right? You're kind of locking yourself into this one way of thinking. And when you commit yourself, whether it be through a blood sacrifice or a pact with the devil or something like that, you are literally committing your whole life to this one deity, this one entity, when there are millions of deities and entities and spiritual paths that you can grow into and explore and kind of, you know, get lessons from. So when you do this and then later on you decide, hey, this isn't what I want, and then walk away from it, I feel like that leaves a taint on you. It leaves something behind on you that isn't gonna just let go. And I'm not saying that you're gonna have like demons whispering at you all night to kill yourself, but that has been reported. Like there have been people who have left certain faiths and certain religions who will report being tortured or, you know, just harassed by evil spirits, and it kind of drives you crazy because you can't control that, you know? Kind of got a little off topic with this discussion, but occult suicides are, again, not a common thing. I'm not trying to scare anybody saying that, hey, if you ever do anything even remotely occult related, you're gonna end up killing yourself later. That's not what I'm trying to say. All I'm saying is that every kind of spiritual path you take in life or that you explore in life does have a psychological effect on you as well as an emotional one. So when you're exploring your faith and exploring spirituality and growing as a person, just make sure that you're not only growing in one direction, which is a bad, negative direction, because it can infect you, you know, it can infect your mind, and then later on when you try to change, or even if you stay entrenched in that, it can definitely take a toll on you that makes you super depressed and just somewhat suicidal. And again, I'm not saying that occult practices are causing people to kill themselves. I'm simply saying that everyone's psychological makeup is different, and you have to know yourself. You have to really understand yourself and whether or not you can handle certain types of practices and energies. Other than that, I love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow, and